Hello everyone and welcome back to day 8 of Jesse Tree, God's Big Advent story. Yesterday we kind of got cut off for the end of day 7, and I wanted to let you know that Jacob's ladder made its way up here. And today we're going to hear a story about Joseph. So before we get started, we're going to wiggle it out a little bit, calm our heads, calm our hearts, and calm our hands. We're going to take a big deep breath in and let it out slowly. All right, today's passage for Joseph comes from Genesis chapter 37, verses 1 through 36. It's a long one, but it's a really great story. So here we go. Jacob lived in the land of Canaan, where his father was an immigrant. This is the account of Jacob's descendants. Joseph was 17 years old and tended a flock with his brothers. While he was helping the sons of Bilhah and Zilpah, his father's wives, Joseph told their father unflattering things about them. Now, Israel loved Joseph more than any of his other sons, because he was born when Jacob was old. Jacob had made for him a long robe. When his brothers saw that their father loved him more than any of his other brothers, they hated him, and they couldn't even talk nicely to him. Joseph had a dream and told it to his brothers, which made them hate him even more. He said to them, "Listen to this dream I had. When we were binding stalks and grains in the fields, my stalk got up and stood upright, while your stalks gathered around and it bowed down to my stalk." His brothers said to him, "Will you really be our king and rule over us?" So they hated Joseph even more because of the dreams he told them. Then Joseph had another dream, and he described it to his brothers. "I've just dreamed again, and this time the sun and the moon and the 11 stars were bowing down to me." When he described it to his father and to his brothers scolded him and said to him, "What kind of dreams have you been dreaming? Am I and your mother and your brother supposed to come and bow to you to the ground in front of you?" His brothers were jealous of him, but his father took careful note of the matter. Now Joseph's brothers went to tend their father's flocks in Shechem. Jacob said to Joseph, "Aren't your brothers tending the sheep in Shechem? Come, I'll send you with them." And he said, "I'm ready." So Jacob said to him, "Go find how your brothers are and how the flock is, and then report back to me." So Jacob sent him from the Hebron Valley, when he approached Shechem. A man found him wandering in the field and asked him, "What are you looking for?" Jacob said, "I'm looking for my brothers. Tell me where they are tending their sheep." And the man said, "They left here. I heard them saying, 'Let's go to Dothan.'" So Joseph went after his brothers, and he found them in Dothan. They saw Joseph in the distance, and before he got close to them, and they plotted to kill him. The brothers said to each other, "Here comes the big dreamer. Come on now, let's kill him and throw him into the cisterns, and we'll say a wild animal devoured him. Then we will see what becomes of his dreams." When Reuben heard what they said, he saved him from them, telling them, "Let's not take his life." Reuben said to them, "Don't spill his blood. Throw him into the desert cistern and don't lay a hand on him." He intended to save Joseph from them and to take him back to his father. When Joseph reached his brothers, they stripped off Joseph's long robe, took him and threw him into the cistern, an empty cistern with no water in it. When they sat down to eat, they looked up and saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead. with camels carrying sweet resin, medicinal resin, and fragrant resin on their way down to Egypt. Judah said to his brothers, "What do we gain if we kill our brother and hide his blood? Come, let's sell him to the Ishmaelites. Let's not harm him because he's our brother. He's family." His brothers agreed. When the midnight traders passed by, they pulled Joseph up out of the cistern. They sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver, and they brought Joseph to Egypt. When Reuben returned to the cistern and found that Joseph wasn't in it, he tore his clothes. Then he returned to his brothers and said, "The boy is gone, and where can I go now?" His brothers took Joseph's robe, slaughtered the male goat, and dipped the robe in its blood. They took the long robe, brought it to their father, and said, "We found this. See, your son's robe." He recognized it and said, "It is my son's robe. A wild animal has devoured him. Joseph must have been torn to pieces." Then Jacob tore his clothes, put a simple mourning cloth around his waist, and mourned for his son for many days. All of his sons and daughters got up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted, telling them, "I'll go to my grave mourning for my son," and Joseph's father wept for him. Meanwhile, the Midianites had sold Joseph to the Egyptians, to Potiphar, Pharaoh's chief officer, commander of the royal guard. Now continuing on to chapter 39, verse 1 and 2. When Joseph had been taken down to Egypt, Potiphar, Pharaoh's chief officer, the commander of the royal guard, and an Egyptian, purchased him from the Ishmaelites who had brought him down there. The Lord was with Joseph, and he became a successful man and served his Egyptian master's household. This is the word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. Joseph was the favorite son, and his 11 other brothers didn't like that so much. So they decided to sell him, and they sent him off to Egypt. But God was with Joseph the whole time. And we'll learn more about Joseph, but God protects Joseph, even though other people didn't like him so much. So I wonder how Joseph felt when he was down in the cistern. A cistern is kind of like a well or a place where they would hold water. It's a big pit. So while Joseph was down there, I wonder what he was thinking about. How did he feel knowing that his brothers didn't like him? Do you think Joseph knew that God was still with him and that God would protect him and keep him safe? God is with us wherever we go. And we are reminded today by that with Joseph's coat. Here's Joseph's coat. It's not of many colors today, but just one. And we'll put this on our tree to remember that God protected Joseph. So as we close our time together, I want you to think of someone we can pray for that needs to be protected by God. And I want you to pray for that person or those people. And we hope to see you again soon tomorrow. Have a great day, folks.